And a super good morning to each and every single one of you from the very noisy village of Tullera, also known as Lacrin, here in the south of Spain. I was going to be giving you the first update of the morning from my normal stop outside Casita Papel Lanfron, where I fill up with water, but they were busy pressure washing the area around the fountain with generators and things running, so there was absolutely no way I could record anything. Hopefully this is ever so slightly quieter that I can get this recorded and you can still at least hear what I'm saying. Anyway, yesterday's ride, 1,600 calories, topped up with about 700 calories that left me with an evening deficit of 900, and this morning's ride is going to probably top out at just over 2,000 calories. And I was feeling super flat by the time I got to Tullera, so I just simply had to stop for a glass of coffee. I'm going to be finishing my coffee, continue on this ride. I may even stop at Casita Papel depending on how flat I'm feeling by the time I get there. Anyway, let me get this done. Oh, before I do forget, sitting on my desk at home is a checklist for today that I need to get through, and there are 11 items on the checklist. This bike ride is the first one of those, so when I get home I'll cross that off and show you the rest of the checklist when I get there. With that being said, let me finish my coffee and continue on my ride and burn off the calories. After all, we are on Proyecto Flaco. Good morning to you, and another quick check-in from the Casita Papel, and I succumbed to temptation and I stopped here at the Casita Papel to top up my caffeine levels, because here at Casita Papel, not an advert, not sponsored, their cups of coffee are substantially larger than any of the other cafes that I found while out on my rides. But anyway, topping up with a little bit more caffeine to help me over the last half hour of my ride, but it's just gone 11 o'clock in the morning, so which means that I should be showered and in office by noon and ready to smash out the content, and I sincerely hope that you'll be smashing out the content too. Hey there, and a super good afternoon to you. I've got a couple more things ticked off on my list. As you can see, I've got my list there. There's a total of 3 things ticked off, but they're good few things that are about to be ticked off over the course of the next short while. With it being around about 5:20 at the moment, I've got my targets is I've got a 90-minute block, and 90 minutes, according to Andrew Huberman, is the ideal size time window to use to apply to a specific task that you want to get done. Less than that and you haven't got enough time performing at your absolute highest level, and if you run too long beyond 90 minutes on a specific task, your attention and mental energy level starts dipping back down again. That's Andrew Huberman's take on the matter, and whom I had to argue with a neuroscientist. But anyway, so I had 11 items on the list, 3 ticked off, that leaves 8. So what I'm going to be doing is, with the time that I've got left for today, is a 90-minute block, followed by a 1-hour Project 24 mastermind, which is all about burnout, which the way I've been going with my training and content production, it's maybe something I should look at myself as well. And then I'm going to be, after the Project 24 mastermind, I've got another 90-minute block, and then I'm going to be wrapping it up for the evening, and let's see how many of these 8 I can have ticked off by the time I get to the end of that. So if there's time at the end of my first 90-minute block, I might check it in with you really briefly, just to let you know how many of these 8 are ticked off. And by the way, one of the 8 on the list is the Project 24 Mastermind, so that'll tick itself off by the time that runs from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock this evening. So by the time I get to 8 o'clock this evening, that'll have ticked itself off anyway. But of the other 7, let's see how many I can get done between now and 7 o'clock when the mastermind starts. And then, as I say, if there's time before the mastermind starts, I'll check in with you really quickly to let you know how that's going. And then I'll check in with you at 9:30 when I get to the end of my second 90-minute block to let you know how I got through on all the other things. By the way, the light is doing something really strange at the moment. I'm not too sure exactly why. I've got an extra redness to myself. I know I was in the sun, but not to quite to that extent. But anyway, let me get cracking on the first 90-minute block. Hey, good evening to you. It's just going on for 9:30 in the evening, way earlier than normal. But with that said, hopefully this means that I'll be able to get myself into bed so much earlier than normal and get a good night's rest and be at my full function tomorrow morning. Anyway, that checklist that I had, there's a whole lot crossed off there. As you can see, there are 2 items left over, but I think that on an 11-item checklist, getting 9 of them done is a reasonably good push and a reasonably good total to finish out the day. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to worry too much about these last 2 items. What I will do is when I create my new checklist for tomorrow, I will have those high up on my checklist so that I can knock them back. Anyway, the good news is I managed to get hold of the computer guy and he's going to be calling me back tomorrow sometime to be able to begin the process of replacing the keyboard on my laptop so that I can be fully functional on that when I need to travel either by bus or by high-speed train to Madrid next month and smash out content even while I'm away from office and traveling the either 3 hours by high-speed train or the 5 hours by bus. I can at least, with the keyboard fixed on the laptop, make those into productive times. Anyway, that's where I am at the moment. Content-wise today, not massive. I know I normally try to push for 2,000 words a day. I got 1,881 words, but because I've overachieved on so many days so far this month, my total goal for today to be able to be online for hitting 50,000 words this month was only 1,300 words, so 1,881 means that I beat that total by 500 words, so I'm happy with how that turned out. Anyway, of these leftover 2 items, one of which is the edit of the 971 word blog post that I'm wanting to do with this camera pointing at the computer to see how quickly I'm able to edit that. So that's definitely on my agenda for tomorrow. As soon as I know from Matt what time he's going to be able to come around to get the exact part number that he needs for the replacement of my laptop keyboard. Anyway, that's today. Have yourselves a good evening. Have yourselves a good night rest, just like I'm planning to have a super good night's rest. And I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Good night.